Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the May meeting of the Planning Board. Could we please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everybody. Just want to, first thing, there's two alternates up here, Kathy and Jean, for Sabrina and Giancarlo. And I think we can proceed.
Approve the minutes.
The first thing we want to do is approve the minutes for last month, April 11th. Can I get somebody to make the motion to approve the meeting?
I'll move.
Minutes, sorry. Anybody second it?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, first thing up is Hudson Valley Aikido.
Shall I?
Yes. You're going to have to recuse yourself.
So just for the record, Tom Ferrone is recusing himself for this particular project.
Good evening, everyone. Thomas Ferroni, consultant for Hudson Valley Aikido. We have nothing new to report this month, other than we've received the 239 document from the county. So I don't know if anyone else needs to speak.
Good evening, I'm Bruce Barber, the town's environmental planning consultant. Tom is correct, we received back 239M referral from the county. The county had one just specific comment relative to lighting. However, the planning board had discussed that with the applicant at a prior meeting and has included lighting within their most current iteration of plans. So I think that the suggestion that the planning department had in the county has been satisfied. The only thing I think that we're continuing to wait on this project is certification from the health department relative to the change in use. However, that I believe is the only thing that's remaining. So in speaking with John, we recommend this evening that the planning board considering scheduling this for the public hearing for the June meeting.
Okay, so that's just a simple vote.
Yes.
Okay, who would like to make the motion to authorize a public hearing for the Hudson Valley Aikido for the, when's the next meeting, sorry? June, let me see, hold on. I think it's June 13th?
June 13th.
June 13th, 2024. Who'd like to make that
I'll
motion?
make that motion.
Who'd like to second it?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Kent Self-Storage.
For some reason, it doesn't appear the applicant is here, so I will speak on their behalf. My name is John Andrews. I serve as engineer to the planning board. We're here this evening. Last month, you opened and adjourned the public hearing pending receipt of a 239M referral. We did receive the 239M back from the county. The county's recommendation was to approve as submitted. So this evening, what I would suggest for you to do is open the public hearing, see if there's any public comment. If there is none, you could close the public hearing, and then I have a resolution for your consideration once you've closed the public hearing.
And we're good to do that without the applicant here.
You are
Okay.
duly noticed, and that's on them.
Okay. All right, who'd like to make the motion to reopen the public hearing for Kent Self-Storage?
Motion.
And who'd like to second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody here that would like to comment on the Kent Self-Storage project? Okay. There's no comment, so I'd like somebody to make motion to close the public hearing for Kent
close.
Self-Storage.
Motion
And
to close.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So now,
Okay, I had circulated a draft, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how many of you saw it, but I think Vera gave you an updated copy this evening. So you should have in front of you draft labeled Draft 4. And this is a resolution reaffirming a secret determination of non-significance, in other words, a neg deck, for site plan approval and steep slope and erosion control permit, and issues an approval with conditions for site plan and the steep slope and erosion control permit. The whereases are standard boilerplate. Since this is kind of a readoption, there's a couple of the clauses I just want to point out to you. The first, now therefore be it resolved, you folks make the determination that the changes that were made were not significant and did not cause any new or different changes to the project that were not otherwise covered, and you reaffirm the negative declaration that you offered. The conditions are pretty much the same as before. We were successful in eliminating some. If you remember, they did grant us the sidewalk easement down along the road. That was taken care of. So basically, it's a standard boilerplate resolution. There are actually 4 bonds here. Yes, there are 4 bonds. There is a stormwater bond, an erosion control bond, and a 3. I'm sorry. Erosion control, landscaping, and a long-term stormwater management facility bond. The amounts are for your erosion and sediment control, $34,414. For the landscaping, it's a combination erosion control, and you may recall mitigation for hiding the tank at the back. That estimate is $80,000. And then the long-term stormwater management facility bond is $48,700. And that once they've completed, at the conclusion of construction, that bond could be lowered to $5,000. And that would continue on until to serve as the long-term maintenance guarantee. They need to pay their inspection fees. They need to make sure all the fees incurred by the planning board are current. And other than that, we offer this for your consideration this evening.
Okay. So this is for a resolution reaffirming the secret determination of non-significance and site approval and steep slope and erosion control permit for Kent Self-Storage 2, Route 311, and the bond, do it all as one? We can do it all?
You can do that, just adopt the resolution, yes, Mr. Chairman. One
And then do the
motion.
bond separate?
No, the bonds are in here.
Okay, and then the erosion control bond of $34,414, site erosion control landscaping bond of $80,000, and the long-term stormwater management of $48,700. And at the conclusion of the construction, subject to the receipt of an as-built plan and certification of construction, the bond can be reduced to $5,000. And this is, I'll make that motion. Who would like to second it?
I'll second it.
And it's going to be a roll call. Tom Ferrone?
Aye.
Jackie Bouchard?
Aye.
Hugo? Aye. Rich?
Yeah.
Kathy?
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
And myself says aye.
Motion carried. Thank you very much. You're all done. I'll send you my bill.
Okay. We're on to TJ Contracting. That was Flint. Oh, sorry, Flint. Oh, sorry. Sorry. My mistake. Sorry.
I almost mixed it up in the beginning, too.
My mistake. Sorry.
Don't skip me.
I was trying to put you to the end. No.
Did someone forget their phone?
I noticed that before. I don't know whose phone's that. Is that your phone?
Yes,
It's my
Jackie's.
phone and
It's
it's my
Jackie's.
phone and it's on live listen, so it goes into my ears.
I will leave it alone.
Right, sorry about that.
No,
So
that's
we
all
are
right,
now
all
on
right.
to Flintlock Storage.
Jamie LaJudas from Inside Engineering, Surveying and Landscape Architecture. As the board may recall, this project was approved back in March of last year, and we basically came back before you for 2 90-day extensions in February, which we were granted. We had submitted ahead of the first 90-day extension expiration to fill you in on our progress. Since then, the applicant has actively been trying to obtain the bonds. One of the bonds in particular has been the problem child, the wetland bond. There's language in it that bond companies don't want to give you the bond for it. And he's gone through, I think, 4 different bond companies. Oh, 8. I didn't know about the other 4. So this is a problem that we would like to bring to your attention. Also, let you know that we are still trying to find those bonds. But something we'd like to discuss with the board is that in other municipalities that we work with, there is typically an erosion control bond and maybe something for stormwater. And anything else would be lumped in and provided as a bond after construction starts and the applicant comes in and looking for a CO. And then if anything outstanding is present, such as landscaping, you would bond that in that regard, so that the town is ensured that the landscaping would be completed and the applicant just doesn't get their CO and can walk away and not do the landscaping. So we would like to propose that as an option to do and to see what your thoughts were on that. Also, we did provide the sign as part of the outstanding items for the resolution. Looking at the color of the sign, I believe they wanted a specific red provided, which we did.
Black and white, so.
We submitted it in color. It is a red, and unfortunately, my printer was losing color, so it's not as bright of a vibrant red, but it is red.
Could you just explain that they can't get a bond for wetlands?
For the wetland plantings.
Oh, for the plantings?
For the plantings, yes. So we have 4 bonds on this project. One for erosion control, one for site landscaping, one for long-term stormwater maintenance, and then one for landscaping of the mitigation planting for wetlands.
Okay.
Jamie, what's making getting these bonds difficult?
I don't know the exact language that they're referring to, but there's something about a year. There's more than 2, I think it's more than 2 years the bond has to be held for, and I may be paraphrasing that very poorly. But there's a timing that's involved with that bond that the companies don't want to issue. I will let you have the floor.
All wetland bonds basically have a term that's more than 1 year. The rationale behind that is that wetland plantings need a certain amount of time to grow in, like any other garden per se would need a time to establish itself. It needs maintenance, weed pulling, or as it's called, invasive species removal, and care. So the certainty of success is generally not going to be accomplished within a 1 year period. And that's why just about all wetland permits have a term of 2, 3, and sometimes even 5 years before they're actually considered completed. There is some practical difficulty sometimes on some occasions getting bonds, and I've seen that before. I've also seen people get bonds for longer term than a year. So what I would suggest is we have an open mind, and if Jamie could provide something encapsulated in writing, what she just indicated to the board, we would consider it. John and I would take a look at it and make a recommendation to the board thereafter. And that's really where we can be right now. Okay. Thanks, Jamie.
Do we,
We do recommend this second 90 days.
Oh, second 90 days, absolutely. Well,
We request that you recommend the second 90 days as well.
okay. That's it? Just,
yeah, it's actually a continuation of the first of the.
right, just she's coming in and explaining.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I'd like to approve the 90 days extension for the Flintlock storage. Anybody want to make that motion? Second. Sorry, Jean has motioned.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. We will provide that language and then come back.
Hopefully we can get it going.
That'd be great. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Right, you too. Sorry about that, Jim. All right, now we're on to yourself. TJ Construction. Contract.
Hi.
Yeah.
My name is Joseph Moran. I own a company called TJ Contracting, which is not a construction company. We make equestrian products. I'm hoping to build a small arena and a small barn for my daughter to ride a pony that we don't have yet. And that's why I'm here, to see what I need to do to achieve that. All work on the property has been done by myself up to this point. There's been no other party involved.
I see the barn location, you put in the second drawing that was sent
Yeah.
over. Now, the arena in reference to that, is that going to be to the west of that?
To the border, I don't know.
Is it going to be over here? Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought, it was quite flat. Yes, your turn already.
We had an opportunity to meet with Joe on Zoom, John and I, and he discussed the project with us and submitted the materials to date. I think at this particular time, the materials give us an idea of what he has in mind, but we need additional data and information to really move forward with this application, specifically limits of disturbance, erosion sediment control plan. John and I need to go out and do a site inspection just to have a look and make sure there's no wetlands incursions within the proposed limits of disturbance, short form environmental assessment form. So I think at this particular juncture, what we would suggest the board give the applicant an opportunity to meet with us again on the May 21st consultants meeting, just to kind of go over what the expectations are in terms of a complete submittal that then this board can review and move the project forward. And we're happy to do that if that's choosing what he wants to do. Okay, but right now the application materials are incomplete. John and I did not write a memo. We felt we wanted to talk with you first before we wasted a lot of time and money on an incomplete application. Got it as complete as we could, and then we would have a look at it and do a site inspection. So I think the next good step would be to, again, meet on May 21st. The probability is that we need to have an engineer involved, of course, to lay this all out and what have you, but we can discuss that on the 21st.
Okay. There's nothing for us to do tonight, just
No action to be taken.
no
tonight.
action.
Joe, do you understand? We'll get together then and we can give a call and set that up. We have to meet with you. Okay?
And just the project is for personal use for my daughter, maybe myself, maybe 2 animals at most.
Do you have an approximate size of the barn?
I sent
Just
in a drawing,
approximate.
I went with something 30 by 40, but I could do something smaller, but
I was just curious though.
that's just something.
Joe, excuse me. Are you in the agricultural district by any chance? Are you listed in Putnam County Agricultural District?
I don't know.
You would know. Okay, just wanted to.
Yeah. And I've never applied for permits for anything in any town before, so I'm not really aware of what's required on my behalf. So it's my first time doing anything like this.
That's what's good about this, the Zoom calls with them and that,
Okay.
so it's good. Anybody have any questions?
No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Freeland Pure.
I don't know if there's anything you want to do.
I'll just go. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have Jason Snyder from Beatty Watson here this evening. Basically, he filed a request for a 90-day, 2 90-day extensions. Freeland Pure is an erosion control permit. It was moved on an administrative track, and then they actually got signed plans on May 11th of 2023. So technically speaking, once your plans are signed, your permit is active. And they have, according to the applicable town code section, they have 1 year from the date of the permit, and you can grant up to 2 6-month extensions. Apparently, there's some issues with the bond, so Vera does have a request tonight for you to refer the bond to the town board for acceptance. But in this case, what I would ask is that the board consider granting a 6-month extension to the applicant. Mr. Snyder indicates that should be sufficient to finish, and that we can move along. So it would be simply an oral resolution granting a 6-month extension to an erosion and sediment control permit.
Okay. So I'd like to make the motion to give a 6-month extension to Free and Pure property.
I'll make the motion.
And second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, and the bond,
What's the bond amount, Vera, do you recall? 9803.
John, how far along are they?
I don't think they've started at all.
They haven't started. That's why you're developing them.
They have not started.
They have not started.
okay, okay,
So you already, when you moved this to administrative track, you accepted that number originally.
okay.
Vera is asking that you
Requested be sent to the town board.
request that it be sent to the town board, pardon me.
Okay, I'd like to make the motion to send the bond amount of $9,803 to the town board for approval for the Free and Pure property for, is it the erosion control?
Yes.
For erosion control.
I'll move.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're on to Jenkins property? All right.
Good evening, Bill Walters, Building Inspector, Town of Kent. On the Jenkins property, you guys all have the letter that was submitted. This project is a de minimis project. It's 578 square feet. They're enlarging 2 rooms, and there's no real issue here for the planning board to deal with. So I would ask that you take no action on this for the planning board, because it is the de minimis project.
So there's nothing we have to do.
Just acknowledge for the record that you accept Mr. Walter's decision that it's a de minimis project and no further action is required by you.
Okay, I just want to make the note that we are accepting Mr. Walters' recommendation that this will be a de minimis project, and then we do not need to take this any further.
I'll move.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I guess we're below the line.
Keep going.
All right. Number 1, A-Class Builders. The board briefly discussed this application at your last meeting. You did take an action only to refer the project to the town board for consideration for an increase in wastewater allocation. My understanding is that the town board is considering it at the present time, but has not yet made any decision. There's no further action to be taken by this board until the applicant comes back with that determination from the town board. So that's being held in abeyance. Chungin Monastery, that is now an administrative track. We're waiting for a couple of odds and ends from them. But other than that, it's pretty much at the done deal and completion aspect. Westfall property, we are still receiving information in bits and pieces from the applicant's engineer regarding a relatively simple 2-lot line revision. We're looking for the deeds of the proposed 2 lots, getting the language for the meets and bounds. We're still waiting for that. The Ryder property, we met with Dr. Ryder's attorney and architect, several planning board members, John, myself, and others, our attorney representing the planning board. The determination was made for the applicants to provide a letter to the planning board requesting certain variances from the site plan, and also to require a business plan detailing what exactly the building will be used for, how many people will be there, how much parking is going to be needed. That will drive a lot of the further discussion with the planning board as well as the health department. We did receive a letter from counsel for the applicant, Mr. Schilling, requesting certain variances, but it was not in alignment with what we had discussed at the meeting. There were some things that were a little off. So I think what's going to happen is that we'll wait for the second piece to come, which is the business plan, and then John and I will write review memos for the board's consideration and move forward on this. So that's really held in abeyance as well. AJ First Realty, that is a erosion sediment control plan where they got started a bit early, taking material, trees, et cetera, down behind that building on Route 52. We went out to look at the site. There's a little more there than what would have met the eye. The applicant is in need to get an engineer to do an erosion sediment control plan and submit that to this board for review. Torres property, we just heard back from the applicant's engineer. This is a property where a large amount of fill was installed without appropriate permits. He has requested to get together with the consultants at the May 21st meeting to go over some options for how he wants to address the fill. So we will hear back from them as well. Rapoli property, same engineer. We're waiting to hear back from him to finish some materials that need to submit to us for that as well. The Trail Club, we have not heard back from them. Nothing really new submitted within recent time. Guy Lazaka, John, Bill, you were out there. Anything new?
But I'm going to reach out to Paul Lynch and figure out what he was going to do.
Great. Okay. Nichols Road project, we're still waiting for some recommendations from council on how to proceed on that, as is the case with Route 52 development. And lot line adjustment at DEP in Seven Hills, we have not heard anything for quite some time on that as well. Is there any questions?
No. Okay. Does anybody have any comments? No. Before we close the meeting, since we won't be back till after Memorial Weekend, I want to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day. And I want to make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.